Hey guys, today's video is about a Teyes product, the Teyes Lux One, one of their very newest offerings. And this product has 6 GB of RAM and an 8-core CPU, and it's designed specifically for the owners of Audi, Mercedes, and BMW. Those kinds of cars. Let me show you this now. Now, Teyes doesn't really need any introduction. They're probably one of the most prestigious brands in the industry when it comes to the Android head unit. And this product is not meant to rival the CC3, their flagship head unit, or the CC4, which I will be reviewing very, very soon, as it's going to be released very, very soon. So make sure you subscribe. And this one has been designed to work with cars which need their own operating system as well. So for example, Mercedes have their own operating system where you can change the features of the car from within on the screen itself. You need to keep those features. They are there for a reason. Mercedes are the same, Audi are the same. So what the Lux One does is it enables its own features, but also retains all the other features of the car as well by having video input, so that it can still give you access to everything that the car already does. Now I'm going to be putting it into a Mercedes, an older Mercedes C-Class, which has a non-color, non-touch screen, and I'm going to be replacing it with this, which is a 12.3-inch wide, awesome touchscreen head unit. So as usual, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it out of the box, show you what it consists of, and then I'm going to install it in the Merc and have a play and show you what it can do. But please remember, I don't get paid to endorse any company or product, including this Lux One from Teyes. This is more about me just checking it out, seeing if it's any good, and then obviously telling you guys about it. Okay, let's do that now. And here it is, and it looks lovely. I mean, it's very basic on the front. There's nothing there, it's just a screen. And then if we have a look at the back here, we can see that this version is for NTG 4.0, 4.5 for the Mercedes operating system. So this is already programmed to work with that type of car. Over here we have a micro SD card input and a SIM card input. And then we have 2 other connectors, which I'll go into a little bit later. And then we have antennas for the 4G and for the GPS antenna here. And then attached to this wire, we have a USB cable. You probably already noticed that on the back of this, there's no FM antenna, and that is because it doesn't have an FM tuner built in. It is going to be using the FM tuner of the car itself. And this is the fact with the Audi, Mercedes, and BMW cars. Remember, they have their own system. So you're going to be able to see that on this screen as well, and part of that is the radio. So there's no FM tuner built into this. For that reason, this is not going to be the head unit that you would choose for a universal installation. You would continue to use the CC2 Plus, the CC3, or the upcoming CC4, but not this Lux. This is specifically for the Audi, BMW, and Mercedes users. Also in the box, we have the mounting kit for the Mercedes C-Class. I actually have no idea what this is at all, but it has a BNC connector on it, so I guess we'll find out later. And we have another thing with a BNC on it, which again, I have no idea what it is, but this one says multi-function cable. This is the 4G antenna. This is the GPS antenna. We have an external microphone. We have a FACRA to BNC connector. And then we have this very specific for the Mercedes main loom. And it's specific because it allows you to retain your existing factory radio. So you plug this into the back of the factory radio and plug that into the main loom. So you still got your factory radio attached, and then you have the connector for the Lux One. And on this loom, we also have auxiliary output. We have the rear camera input, a auxiliary video input. We got 360 camera detection because this is actually compatible with 360 cameras, and an accessory power lead, video in power, auxiliary detection wire, ground, and a rear camera power wire. We also have a loop for auxiliary audio, and I believe this won't be used in this car, but it's used in other cars. And auxiliary input, 3.5mm jack here. And then we have a USB CarPlay wire here. So they've given you everything that you need to install it in the specific car that you ordered it for. This one comes from Teyes Australia. make sure that you have a look on their website to see if there's one available for your particular car. But right now I'm going to go and put this in my Mercedes now. So let's go and do that now. And here is the Teyes Lux One installed in this Mercedes C-Class. And it looks really good. It really has updated the look of the dashboard of this car. If you imagine, this car originally had this thing, which has this sort of small screen on the dashboard, and now it has this very large 12-inch widescreen, just like the modern Mercedes-Benz cars. Awesome. Right, let's switch it on and see what it can do. Right, so that is on now. And there we go. So it's sort of an instant on. That's really, really good to see. Now, the thing about the Lux One and what makes it different from the CC3 and indeed the CC4 is that it is specifically designed to be integrated with these German cars. So BMW, Mercedes and Audi, this thing is designed to work with these cars in particular. So that means that if you didn't have this sort of low old screen and you had an actual color screen in your Audi or Mercedes or BMW, this will still show you whatever the original car had. And you would do that simply by going into the apps here and going into car UI. Now, this particular car does not have a car UI because it is an older car, but that's just to show you how you would do that. But what this does integrate with, and what you will find very interesting, is if I open the doors, it's going to show me that the car doors are open. If I turn on the AC, it shows me the AC information, the temperature and how fast the fan is going. If I pop the car into reverse, obviously you're going to be able to see the reverse camera, but if I turn the steering wheel, you can see that it is actually moving the vectoring lines here as well. So it's communicating with the car to know where the steering wheel is turning. And if you have a look over here, you can see that the 4 front sensors and the rear sensors are all showing the distances and how close they are to obstacles around the car. So this thing really does have an integration with everything that is going on inside this car. So that is absolutely fabulous. Obviously that means that the steering wheel controls function perfectly fine as well. And the way that we set this up is if we go into the settings, and then we go into more settings, we go into device, we go into car model, and then enter canvas settings. And you can see you have a selection of different vehicles. So you've got BMW, Mercedes, Audi over here, and some other ones as well. But this is a Merc C-Class. So on the model selection, I selected the model, which was for the C-Class. And as simple as that, there was no faffing about working out what the buttons on the steering wheel work. The knob that's built into this car for navigating the original screen all works with this head unit straight away with literally no effort whatsoever. And that makes it fantastic. I talk about hardware all the time, but software is so important with Android head units. How they function is really important. I'm going to show you why. Before we get into the software more, let's talk a little bit about the hardware specifications. And this unit does have the 7862A 8-core CPU. That is an absolutely blistering fast processor in this unit. We know that to be the fastest benchmarking Android head unit CPU that I have personally tested, and it's brilliant. That means that this thing is going to be lightning fast, and I'm going to show you that in the tests in a little bit. It has 6 GB of memory. You can see that the screen has a resolution of 720p, and then it has Android 10. Now, you're probably going to be saying to me, Stu, why has this thing got Android 10 in this day and age? It probably should have Android 12 and 13, and yeah, maybe that is the case, but if you imagine that this particular head unit has some crazy amazing software, for example, if we have a look at the apps, so instead of showing us all the apps, it just shows us some apps that we use on a daily basis, something that we can set up. I chose these apps because these are the ones that I most use. But over here, you can see that we seem to have apps that are linked together. What is that, you ask? Well, this one that has Spotify and Google Maps, if I tap that, you can see that it opens Spotify on one side and Google Maps on the other. It's using split screen functionality, really high level. It is so good that it can do this. And You know, if I wanted to change this one here, I could go into my apps and find an app that I really love to use, which is Project M. You can see that it is appearing on this side of the screen. So I can have Spotify on one side and my music visualization on the other. And that's crazy, crazy good. That's not only the ability to have a split screen on an Android head unit, which has this large widescreen, which split screen makes so much sense with a large widescreen like this, but also it gives you the functionality of actually starting two apps at the same time. So when you get in the car, you don't need to faff about with opening one app and then opening the other and then opening split screen. On this Teyes Lux One, you just press one thing and it opens two apps at the same time. That's awesome. I mean, it really, really is awesome. And the other thing about this head unit is you can install pretty much whatever you want, like any other Android head unit. But the issue with the CC4 was that if you went into the Play Store and you tried to install Netflix, you would find that Netflix wasn't there and you had to sideload it if you wanted to use Netflix, but not the Lux One here. I was actually able to install the very latest version of Netflix from the Play Store, no issues whatsoever. And obviously one of the main benefits of having an Android head unit is that you can install pretty much whatever you want onto it, and things like YouTube, where you can watch videos at high resolution on here as well, which is awesome. Obviously one of the benefits of these kinds of head units is adding the standards of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So all you really need to do for that function to work is connect the device to your phone via Bluetooth, which is what I'm doing now. And there we go. And as you can see, it's using the full width of this display, and you have your music playback and your maps over here as well, exactly as you would with any other Android Auto device. And you can look at all of your apps while still having the map on display, because again, it's utilizing the full width of the display. Let's have a look at Apple CarPlay. Right, so got my trusty iPhone, find the Lux One from Bluetooth, turn on Wi-Fi and use CarPlay, and there we go. So full display being used, nice big icons, 10 showing on the screen at once, which is utilizing the full resolution. And we again have the functionality of using the entire widescreen with the map and the audio software over here as well. So absolutely fine for CarPlay and Android Auto if that's what you want to use. But bearing in mind, this head unit has amazing specifications from an Android perspective. So rather than streaming stuff from your phone, it would be much better to install those apps directly, use the split screen function as it's intended. It's a much higher resolution, it looks a lot better, it will sound a lot better as well. That's what I would recommend. Okay, so let's talk about the audio functionality of the Teyes Lux One. Now, a lot of this is going to be going through your car's factory sound system, because that's what this was designed. It's supposed to be integration into your car's own system. So the radio that originally came in this car still is plugged in and still functions. The FM functionality is the car's standard car radio, and the audio from this is going through that system as well. However, if we go into the equalizer, we can see what control we do actually have. So up here, you can go through the presets of different sounds from the head unit, find one that you like the look of, or you can set it to user, and you can manipulate the audio using these sliders, which is very, very simple. Bass one side, treble the other, nice and easy. Surround gives you the ability to send delays to the individual door speakers to get that kind of sound that you're looking for. Bass enhancement, very self-explanatory, but you do have the ability to separately control bass on the front and the rear speakers separately. Field is your basic fade and balance control. And then the bass filter gives you cutoffs for both the front and the rear speakers to give you that control as well. So remembering that you can still control the audio from the standard system in your Mercedes, Audi, BMW, because that functionality still works fine, but you can manipulate the audio through the actual Teyes as well if you want to, using this application. So that's really good. Obviously, it sounds great. The sound processing unit inside this unit does sound fantastic. I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed with it. And that's pretty much it for this video. If I've missed anything, just ask the question in the comment section below and I'll see what I can do about answering it. And if there's any other Android head units that you'd like me to review, just ask and I'll see what I can do. Remember, the CC4 is going to be released very, very soon and you're going to see it on this channel. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button to watch.